Hey everyone, hope you're all doing okay and welcome back to this My Team series. So if you've seen any of the previous episodes, we're actually doing quite well. We've actually scored points in the last 2 races and the car development is actually doing pretty well as well. So looking to continue that, we are actually going to develop the tertiary wing flaps in the Aero department, and not only that, we are actually going to take a risk and rush the development, so hopefully that comes before China, which is the next race. Though with rushing the development, obviously you have the increased likelihood that it is going to fail, so risk and reward. We also decided to develop the cylinder heads to give us a little bit more oomph down the straights, as we are lacking a little bit in that department now. And from last time, the rear wing upper flaps, unfortunately they did fail, and obviously we had to spend some R&D points to get those developed again. And unfortunately that won't actually make the Chinese Grand Prix, but will be ready for the next race afterwards, which I believe is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Also, the engine cover did manage to come through, as did, funny enough, the tertiary wing flaps, so that risk turned out to be a massive reward for us going into the Chinese Grand Prix. As always, before we head out to qualifying, let's quickly check out the performance index, and as you can see, we've had another little jump and we're now above Ferrari. So we are definitely a certified midfield team, which is great news. Anything else worth taking note of? Only that Mercedes have increased their dominance just that little bit further. Anyway, without further ado, let's head to qualifying at the Chinese Grand Prix. Alright, so here we are going for our first run in Q1. Now, if we can get a decent first lap in, we may not even need to do a second lap. We could possibly save ourselves a set of tyres, and yeah, that would be useful for Q2 and possibly Q3. Dare I think about it? I don't know. We'll have to see. So refocusing on the lap, we are coming up to turn 6 and we have gone way too deep there. Don't know what we'll think about, so we are going to have lost, well, at least 2 tenths, possibly 3 tenths of a second there. So trying to do one perfect lap probably isn't going to happen now. As we are into sector 2, the middle of sector 2, this corner is always quite tricky. It's tighter than you actually think. I always have to go down to gear 3 and then kind of short shift up to gear 4 on the exit, because you can kind of lose the rear a little bit. As we are just about to enter the never-ending corner at China, which is similar to the Vietnam one, the roundabout one. You kind of want to go wide initially and then cut it from about the halfway point of the corner, so you can kind of straight line that as much as possible to get a good exit, and which means you should get a better top speed going down this straight, and hopefully in the race an overtaking opportunity. As we slam on the brakes and we actually go down to gear 1. For that, we can definitely do gear 2 there, so I was playing that a little bit cautious as we cut the last corner, actually take out the bollard, which is great, and we go over the line and we do a 1:30.5, so that isn't a great lap if I'm honest. We are currently P16, so that definitely isn't a great lap. I did know that our sector 2 was not great, the start of sector 2 wasn't great, but also Danny hasn't had a great lap either. So not only do I want us to improve, but I really want Danny to improve because, well, the bottom 3 cars, the likelihood of them getting out of Q1 is pretty slim. But you never know with George Russell. He is called Mr. Saturday after all. And we did actually go out for a second lap in Q1, but literally just then one of the Alfa Romeos crossed the line, and that means that I couldn't go out anymore in Q1. So I thought I'll just back off and save this set of tyres as much as possible. And there you have it, that is confirmation. So he literally just scraped through by about, well, I say scraped through, well, half a second quicker than the next closest person to knock us out. But yeah, we're in Q2 and we've got a half new set of tyres as well, which is pretty good going. Obviously, the 6 cars that went out are what we expected, the 2 Alphas, 2 Hasses and the 2 Williams, so nothing out of the ordinary. We just need to focus on Q2 now and hopefully, possibly Q3 as well. So on that used set of soft, or the half-used set of softs, we actually go and do our first lap quite early on in Q2, and we managed to do a 1:30.5, which is pretty much exactly what we did last time. And as you can see, Danny did pretty much the exact same lap again. He did a 1:30.4. But most interestingly, Lewis Hamilton below us in 15th there did a 1:30.666. But yeah, he did that on the medium tyres, so he was obviously trying to play it cool. But surprisingly, Valtteri Bottas actually did currently manage to do quite a good lap on the medium tyres. So they're obviously thinking race strategy. Anyway, let's check out our fastest lap in Q2 as we are just about to start it now. So over the line we go. This is where it really matters. So I think we should at least go about 3 or 4 tenths quicker just due to being on newer tyres. I didn't cut this corner, or not cut the corner, but I didn't take that first corner very well. As I say, when you've got sort of long sweeping corners, you kind of want to go initially a little bit wide and then cut inside to try and straight line it as much as possible. But we're currently up 2 tenths of a second anyway, so it's not too bad. And we had a better exit there on turn 6, so now we're up 3 tenths. In gear 8 going through turn 7, which is, again, you can lose the rear going into turn 8 here a little bit. Down to 3 for turn 9. Try and short shift up to 4 and 5 to get the traction down for turn 10. Still up 3 tenths, so not really gained too much. Into turn 11, it's quite sharp. Oh, we've had a little bit of a slide there, and that's put us, we haven't gone wide enough for turn 12. Though we are up 7 tenths of a second, so that's obviously where we gained a lot of our time, was going through the never-ending corner. On the straight, obviously can't do too much. You've just got to hope you get a good exit from that never-ending corner. Around 100 metres, you want to slam on the brakes down to gear 2. If need be, bash it down to gear 1 and then up to gear 2. We are up nearly 9 tenths of a second. 50 metre boards on the last corner. Kind of cheesed that a little bit, taking out that bollard yet again. Sorry, the marshals that put that back. And we crossed the line, and we have done something. P7. Don't know what the time was, but we have gone to P7. So that ended up being a very good lap for us. And there you can see P7 for us, we did a 1:29.7. So that was much faster. Looking at Danny, he did improve by about a tenth, but he was still 6 tenths of a second behind us. So yeah, come on, Danny, you really need to get going. I was really hoping that you could possibly get points this weekend. I mean, from 15th is not impossible, but yeah, come on, Danny, I need a little bit more from you, bud. The other shock, though, is the other Danny Ricciardo in the Red Bull going out in P11 there. So unless he's playing for Tyre strategy, the championship leader is going to not make it through to Q3. And because we only have one set of tyres going into Q3, this is actually our last lap. So I'll try and do a bit more explain of what I try to do. You want to turn in, obviously it's a corner. Try and go as wide as possible. Don't want to go too wide, otherwise you will lose a bit of time. Then you want to hug the inside curb there and then hug this one. I go down to gear 2, short shift up to 3 and 4 just to get the traction down because you can lose that. And then we're coming up to turn 6, around 75 metres down to gear 2. I think sometimes you can get away with gear 3, though I don't think our car's quite good enough to do that. I tend to leave it in gear 7, around turn 7, but you can sometimes bump up to gear 8. Turn 8 down to gear 4, you possibly could get away with gear 5 as well. As I said before, short shift up to gear 5 coming out of turn 10. Around 100 metres or 75 metres down to gear 2. We didn't slide this time, so this one's actually looking pretty tidy. Gone nice and wide, and then we want to cut it short here, so straight line it, so you're flooring it now. You can lose it on that corner if you put down the power a bit too early, so you do need to be careful with that. But if you nail it, you'll gain so much time and so much speed down this long straight. Again, around 100 metres down to gear 2, or like me, if you want to, you can short shift to 1 and then back up to 2 quickly. And then coming up to the last corner, around 50 metres, try not to cut the bollard if you can, or take out the bollard if you can, and that is not a bad lap at all. And that is a 1:29.7 again, I think I saw, and that's put us 9th this time. So not a bad result at all. So yeah, just confirming that, a 1:29.7 for us, and that has put us 9th going into the Chinese Grand Prix tomorrow. Obviously, no surprise there, the 2 Mercedes at the top with a Red Bull just behind them. Sounds very familiar. Lando did manage to actually out-qualify us by about 2.5 tenths of a second there, so that's not going to be great for our rivalry, but it's also not too bad. And speaking of the rivalry, there you can see Lando's got 2 points to R1, so he is actually leading the rivalry 11-8. And yeah, that's going to wrap up the qualifying session. Very happy with that. I think we've got decent pace in the car, as the car is starting to developed quite well at the moment. So yeah, hopefully we can maintain this position. If not, maybe get 1 or 2. If we could get ahead of Lando tomorrow, that would be solid. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you can smash that like button, that would really help us out, as that really helps out with the algorithm apparently. And yeah, if you didn't like it, you can always dislike it. I won't be offended. I'm a big boy. If you want to see more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions or just want to say hi, drop it in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alrighty then, I've been Jumbo and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the race.